They would go over downtown, over some of the hospitals, and they found a way with smoke to do some skywriting and just draw a heart over downtown.
They were expected to lose about 20% of their hearing because they were flying around basically in a tin can for over a week.
This year, they had over $60,000 worth of scholarships that they wanted to give out. Unfortunately, they did not have enough applications.
Coming to you from a hangar somewhere near the flight line, where summer is here and we're breaking out the density-altitude formula, this is the Future in Flight podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Staerker. Today's episode's got smoke trails, formation flying, a team that drew hearts over Atlanta in the middle of a pandemic and grew into America's largest civilian formation team. 12 airplanes, 1 formation, 1 mission. Then we're sitting down with Chris Wuerfel from Bose Aviation, a company celebrating 40 years in the aviation headset business. And he's got a story that starts not in an airplane, but in a lecture hall at MIT. And wrapping it all up, you already know the name. Jamail Larkins from Aviation Start is back talking scholarships, mentorship, pathways, and $60,000 in unclaimed scholarship money that proves the problem isn't funding, it's awareness. Today's show is for anybody who's ever looked up and felt something shift inside of them. Buckle in, we're cleared direct. Imagine 12 airplanes, wingtip to wingtip, trailing smoke across the Florida sky. And somewhere in the crowd below, a kid looks up, jaw drops, and something clicks. That moment, that's the whole mission. Now, we're taking you to the flight line at Sun and Fun 2026 in Lakeland, Florida, where our field correspondent, Vanzel Jenkins, a.k.a. Van Zer, caught up with one of the most impressive amateur formation aerobatic teams in the country. They're called the Throttle Formation Team, and they fly as one. Before we get into this story, let's set the scene. The Throttle Formation Team is based out of Peachtree City, Georgia, home of Falcon Field Airport. And when Vanzel rolled up to talk to them, they were already in briefing, getting ready to put on a performance.
Here's the timeline for today. Our box time is at 14:28.
The team flies Van's aircraft RVs, RV-4s, 6s, 8s, even the occasional RV-14. If you don't know Van's aircraft, just know this. They make some of the most popular home-built kit planes in the world, fast, nimble, and built by the people who fly them. Van Zer connected with the team's lead media officer, callsign Bongo, and right away Bongo gave him the headline.
We're America's largest precision formation aerobatic team. We're 12 airplanes that fly as one.
12 airplanes as one. That phrase right there is what formation flying is all about, and it's a lot harder than it sounds. So where did a team like this come from? As with a lot of great things in aviation, it started with people who just wanted to do something good. It was 2020. COVID had shut the world down. A bunch of airline pilots in the Atlanta area, who were also RV pilots, found themselves at home with time on their hands and hearts that needed to do something useful. So they did what pilots do.
Started in 2020. A bunch of the guys wanted to show some appreciation of the first responders, the nurses, the doctors. So they started doing what they called Hearts Over Atlanta. And they would go over downtown, over some of the hospitals and some of the bigger metro areas. And they found a way with smoke to do some skywriting and just draw a heart over downtown.
You can find that footage on YouTube, and it's genuinely moving. 12 airplanes sketching a giant heart over Atlanta, right above the hospitals, full of people keeping everyone alive. The response was enormous. And that response, that energy, is what turned Hearts Over Atlanta into an airshow team. 6 years later, Throttle Formation Team is still growing and going strong. Now, Bongo flies an RV-4, and he'll tell you it's what he calls a seat-and-a-half airplane.
I jokingly call this my 1.5 seat. Because full fuel and myself in it, and I'm not the world's smallest guy, but I really have maybe 100 pounds of useful load in it. So if I am taking passengers, I'm half tanks or less.
100 pounds. That's not much margin, but it flies great, and that's what matters for formation flying. Here's the thing I love about Bongo's story. He's a buyer, not a builder, but he's learned. He's built a new tail, done an engine overhaul, redone the fiberglass. He taught himself to paint. The airplane is always a project, and that's the point. Even if you didn't build it from scratch, you can still know it inside and out. Now, the team has 18 people on the official roster, 12 in the air at every show. Airline schedules, vacation windows, and family life all factor into which 12 show up. And when they do show up, the briefing is a whole event in and of itself.
All right, we'll talk about the 4-ship takeoff again. 1 and 2 will be on the left side of the runway. 3 and 4 on the right side of the runway. 4 moves forward, so so that you can see lean.
One team member, call sign Bueller, gave Van Zel a preview of how the pre-performance briefing works, and it's detailed. We're talking formation shapes, spirit, arrow, diamond, taxi diagrams, runway assignments, radio frequencies, abort procedures, pyro placement. Yeah, pyro.
Things are going to be different today because we're adding pyro to our routine, which is the first time we've ever done this, and we're actually quite excited about it. The pyro guys came to us and said that they would like to contribute, so we were like, heck yeah, this is going to be awesome. So that'll be briefed in detail, something new, and it's potentially dangerous. We'll walk through the maneuver.
First time with pyro. Never done it before. Just go for it. After a thorough safety briefing, of course. Bongo's been flying since he was 2 weeks old. Literally, strapped into a car seat in his grandfather's airplane. His grandfather was a pilot. His dad was a pilot. His uncle was a pilot. Bongo went to Western Michigan University for aviation, towed banners over Ocean City, Maryland, worked the regionals, cargo, charter, briefly landed at Delta, then COVID hit, and now he's on the MD-11 at FedEx. That's a career with a lot of unexpected turns. And when Van Zel asked him about mistakes, Bongo had a perspective worth sitting with.
When I'm done, when I'm Mr. Old Man in the leather chair telling flying stories at the local airport and hangar flying, I'm going to have a resume and a book that is just, I'll be able to tell that, and there's no mistakes, it's just weird turns in the story.
No mistakes, just weird turns in the story. That's one worth remembering. And that perspective, that flexibility, shows up in how Full Throttle Formation Team thinks about its mission. Their official mission statement is entertain, inspire, educate. You get the entertain part when they light the smoke and fly the show. The inspire part happens when they walk the crowd after landing, handing out stickers, shaking hands, looking kids in the eyes. And the educate part? That happens in classrooms.
Locally, there's one school called Konos Academy, and we will go do in-classroom events with students 3rd through 6th grade, and we teach them about airplanes, about formation, and the skill sets we're using. And we'll actually have a couple of our airplanes demonstrate that overhead. We'll walk out in the back of the schoolyard, right, and fly overhead.
Fly directly over the schoolyard, during class, as a demonstration. That's not a field trip. That's the field trip coming to you. And for a 3rd grader who's never thought about aviation, that might be the moment that changes everything. So what do you do if you want to get into formation flying? Bongo has a clear answer. Don't just go up and follow your buddy. Formation flying has its own set of protocols, hand signals, and safety procedures. It's governed by an organization called Formation Flying Incorporated. Their website is ffi.aero. And that's a great place to start if this is calling your name. And what if you want to get into air shows, but flying isn't your thing? Bongo pointed to ICAST, the International Council of Air Shows, at icast.org. Get to know local performers. Come to the shows. Find out what roles exist that don't require a pilot certificate, because the show doesn't happen without a whole team behind it. "12 airplanes, one team, one mission, and somewhere out there, there's a future pilot, or a future narrator, or a future crew chief who just needs to look up and see something that makes everything click." To the Full Throttle Formation Team, thanks for putting that in the sky. Here's something every pilot knows. Finding sunglasses that actually work with your headset is nearly impossible. That's why I'm super excited to tell you about Flight Sunglasses, our newest show supporter. Flight gets it. They're made by pilots for pilots using wafer-thin carbon fiber, the same material we trust to build our aircraft. No more broken headset seals, no more pressure points, just crystal clear vision and all-day comfort, whether you're in the cockpit or on the ground. Head over to flight.aero and join their mailing list for $20 off your first pair. That's FLYTE.aero. Sunglasses designed for pilots, worn by everyone. Picture this. You're in the cockpit, engine roaring, headset on, and suddenly all that noise just disappears. You can hear every word from ATC, clear as day, no strain, no fatigue. That's not magic. That's 40 years of Bose Aviation.
And other traffic at your 1 o'clock for about 6 miles, about the same altitude right now in the 737.
Today, we're sitting down with Chris Wuerfel, Business Development Manager for Bose. And Chris, he's got a story for us that starts, believe it or not in an airplane. It starts in a lecture hall at MIT. The year is 1964. Dr. Amar Bose, professor, engineer, and relentless problem solver, founds a company on one simple idea. There's always a better way to do things. Fast forward about 15 years, commercial headsets are hitting the market. Big, clunky, Walkman-style things. And Dr. Bose tries them out on a flight and is not impressed. So he does what any brilliant engineer would do. He starts sketching. And over the next 8 years, a team of Bose engineers turned those sketches into something revolutionary: active noise cancellation. Here's Chris to tell you exactly how it got its first real test.
They were expected to lose about 20% of their hearing because they were flying around basically in a tin can for over a week. And fortunately, they did some testing prior to the flight, and it big success, thumbs up. And they ended up using the Bose active noise canceling headset on that flight.
That flight? The 1986 Voyager mission. Dick Rutan and Jenny Yeager. The first non-stop, non-refueled flight around the entire world. 9 days, 1 aircraft, and a pair of Bose headsets that saved their hearing. From that moment on, Bose Aviation was off to the races. Fast forward to today, and Bose Aviation offers 2 flagship headsets for pilots, the A30 and the ProFlight Series 2. I've flown with the A30's predecessor, the A20s, myself, and I gotta tell you, they're exactly as advertised. But which headset is right for you? Here's how Chris breaks it down.
The A30 is an around-ear headset, over-ear, around-ear headset, where the ProFlight is an in-ear headset. Actively, they cancel about the same amount of noise. So electronically, they're canceling about the same amount of noise. But the A30 has so much more passive attenuation that it overall will outperform ProFlight. But if you don't need that overall noise attenuation, then the ProFlight Series 2 is a great option.
So it's pretty simple. Flying something loud like a piston trainer or a bush plane, the A30's got your back. It's an over-the-ear headset. Flying a corporate jet or in a commercial environment, the ProFlight Series 2 might be the sleeker, lighter fit. And here's the thing. A lot of GA pilots are making the switch to ProFlight too because of comfort.
We have seen it really creep into general aviation, where people are looking for a lighter headset, something that doesn't have perhaps as much heat buildup around their ears, less clamping force. Certainly wearing ProFlight with a pair of sunglasses or eyeglasses is easier.
Lighter, cooler, no clamping force. If you're a student pilot or an instructor logging long training days, those things matter. Now, here's a part of the story that I think really matters, because Bose isn't just selling headsets, they're investing in the next generation of pilots. And that means you. They've launched the CFI rebate program, $100 back on qualifying headsets for certified flight instructors. They're partnering with youth aviation advocates like Jamail Larkins over at aviationstart.org. They brought on student ambassadors, actual student pilots who rep Bose at events and share their training journeys with the community. And at AirVenture in Oshkosh, they're giving away an A30 headset. Check them out at the Bose tent, booth 283. Here's Chris on why reaching young pilots matters so much to them.
It's important, obviously, to save your hearing, but we want to make sure that situational awareness when you're just learning how to fly, how important that is. And you really need to be focused on what you're doing and shouldn't have to worry about your headset and any potential issues that you may have.
Exactly. When you're on final approach and your instructor's calling out corrections, the last thing you want is audio fatigue or a headset that's fighting you. Bose Aviation gets that.
730 Charlie Alpha, flighting 260.
And then there's the 40 Voices Oral History Project. At Sun and Fun this year, Bose set up a recording booth and invited pilots of every experience level to come in and share their stories. Brand new pilots, regional airline captains, legends like aerobatic champion Michael Goulian, and they recorded all of it. Here's Chris on the mission behind it.
We are looking basically for pilots of all experience levels to come and share their stories, how they got into it. Were they inspired by somebody? Was it just something they always dreamed of doing? Were they in their backyard looking up at the sky saying, man, I want to fly one of those aircraft someday?
That right there, that's the spirit of aviation. And Bose is capturing it, because to celebrate 40 years in this industry, what better way than to listen and let pilots tell their own stories? The project continues at Oshkosh, and it's going to be online too.
Number 280 Bravo Golf, make left close traffic behind the Cessna on the upwind, runway 27 left, clear for takeoff.
Oh, and one more thing. I asked Chris what skill he'd most want to learn. His answer? Flying. Chris has spent years talking to thousands of pilots, and he still looks at what they do with complete wonder.
I am, quite frankly, absolutely baffled and totally enamored with all of these pilots I speak with, how they fly these incredible machines. And most of them will tell you it's like driving a bus or riding a bike, which I know it's not. So it's absolutely fantastic to hear the stories. I am just marveled by what all these pilots are able to do.
How's that? Somebody who works in aviation and still looks at what you're learning to do with complete awe. Never take that for granted. To learn more about Bose Aviation products and to find the CFI rebate, head over to boseaviation.com. If you're heading to AirVenture in Oshkosh, stop by booth 283, get a demo, check out the Oral History Project. And if you're a student pilot, introduce yourself to Chris. Trust me, he'll love meeting you. All the links are going to be in the show notes. Coming up next, we'll talk to a great friend of the show, a guy who's instrumental in helping thousands of folks get their start in aviation. And not only that, he also shows them how to pay for it as well. The Future in Flight podcast and our friends at Aviation are bringing something revolutionary to AirVenture 2026. The Aviation and Future in Flight podcast Story Stop is an exciting, interactive experience featuring all your favorite aviation creators and friends. Details coming soon. There's a question that follows aviation around like a cloud. It doesn't matter if you're to fly in an Oshkosh, a career fair in Atlanta, or a summit in Miami. Walk up to anyone who's ever looked up at the sky and dreamed of being in it, and ask them why they haven't started yet. The answer is almost always the same. I don't know how to pay for it. That single sentence, I don't know how to pay for it, has grounded more aviation careers before they ever took off than weather ever could. But what if that excuse had an answer? A real one, a free one that meets you wherever you are. That's exactly what Jamail Larkins has spent years building. I'm here at Aero Summit 2026 with Jamail Larkins, founder of Aviation Start, a man who has personally attended over 1,100 aviation events across the country, and someone who genuinely might be the hardest working person in aviation outreach. It's a real pleasure to welcome back Jamail to the Future in Flight podcast.
Shawn, thanks for having me, especially here at Aero Summit 2026.
Now, Jamail's been at this for a while, and Aviation Start keeps growing. For somebody hearing about it for the very first time, here's what Aviation Start actually does.
Every single month, we're adding new resources onto aviationstart.org. When we first started out, it was to help people get their start in aviation, because after 1,100 events across the country, the number one question that I always got from students was, how do I pay for it? I'm excited about getting involved in aviation, but I have no real resources, so it felt unattainable.
That word, unattainable, that's the wall. And Jamail knows exactly what that wall feels like, because he hit it himself. As a 10-year-old kid in Augusta, Georgia, dreaming of flying, with no mentor, no connections, and no idea where to start. For 2 years, his only connection to aviation was a flight simulator. Not the real cockpit, a screen. Until one day he worked up the courage to post in an online aviation chat room. A Delta Airlines captain wrote him back, told him about the Young Eagles program, and that was the spark.
I had no idea how to be able to pay for it. I had no idea scholarships existed. I had very limited information about even EAA, which created the Young Eagles program. I didn't know that if you went out to local EAA chapters, you could meet established people inside of the industry, develop relationships with them, get the opportunity to go flying with them, or get the opportunity to work on airplanes. There's so many resources available, no matter what segment of the industry that you want to go into. You just have to know where to look.
That experience, that gap between wanting aviation and knowing how to get there, is the foundation of everything that Aviation Start does, and they built the tools to close it. Jamail walks us through the scholarship finder because this is something I personally used, and it really blew me away.
You go to aviationstart.org, you create a free account, you click on the scholarship finder, put your information inside of it, and then the AI program will give you a report of every single eligible scholarship that you have the opportunity to take advantage of. Once you read your report, you have the capability of clicking directly on the Apply Now button that takes you to the actual application for that scholarship. So we've searched through 1,700 different organizations.
1,700 organizations, searched, filtered, matched to you in minutes. And it doesn't stop at scholarships. Jamail told me they're now adding local flight school finders, aviation university guides, A&P school directories, and maybe the most powerful feature of all, digital mentorship. Jamail talks about this very important topic, not just in aviation, but in many other areas of life as well.
We want to provide a mentor for whatever career someone wants to have in aviation, that they can have a digital mentor to make their dreams become a reality. So when you have questions like, How do I overcome medical issues? Or how do I set myself apart when I'm a low-time commercial pilot and I need to get that first job? What opportunities exist if I need to work full-time, but I still want to do training? All of these questions that most people, if they have a mentor, can help guide them through that process. Not everyone's fortunate enough to have that.
Not everyone's fortunate enough to have that. He's right. And it matters. It matters because real scholarships go unclaimed every year. Not because the money isn't there, but because students don't know how to apply. Jamail dropped a number that genuinely stopped me. He mentions a specific example, the New England Aero Club.
A really great example of this is the New England Aero Club. Earlier this year, they had over $60,000 worth of scholarships that they wanted to give out. Unfortunately, they did not have enough applications.
$60,000 sitting there, waiting, unclaimed because nobody applied. That's not a funding problem. That's an awareness problem. And that's exactly the problem Jamail Larkins woke up to solve. Aviationstart.org, free account, scholarship finder, dream launch tour events in over 30 cities in 2026. Check the events page. Employers, flight schools, universities, and yeah, Bose A30 headsets being given away to students. King School's ground school courses. Real prizes, real people, real pathways. That intimidating fence around the airport has a gate, and Jamail Larkins built one heck of a sign pointing to it. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Future in Flight podcast. From the full throttle formation team going smoke on in the sky over sun and fun, to Bose Aviation and 40 years of engineering that starts with the question, is there a better way? To Jamail Larkins and the work he's doing every single day to make sure that nobody has to sit on the outside of this industry because they didn't know where to look. Here's what I want you to take with you today. Formation flying took discipline, community, and a lot of trust. A great headset matters more than you think when you're learning, and the stakes are real. And those scholarships, they're sitting there waiting. The only thing missing is your application. So go to aviationstart.org, create your free account, run the scholarship finder, see what's already out there with your name on it. If this episode moved you, inspired you, or made you look up at the sky a little differently, do us a favor. Subscribe to the Future in Flight podcast wherever you listen. And if you've got 30 seconds, leave us a review. It genuinely helps more aviation enthusiasts find the show. And that's our whole mission right there. Show notes, links, and everything we talked about today are all waiting for you at futureinflight.com, or just check the episode description. It's all in there. Until next time, we'll see you out there and up there.